Hello, and welcome back to Movie Theater Explorer. This is Brent, your Movie Theater Explorer, here again to talk about the latest movies that I've seen in theaters or in my home theater. And again, I appreciate you tuning in and listening, whether for the full episode or just part of it. But I appreciate your time regardless. Um, okay, without further ado, we're going to get started with the movies that I did see in theaters. In the first one, I'm going to talk about, you know what? Actually, I'm going to do it a little bit unusual in order just because kind of been going through this journey in the particular way. But I did see Toy Story 5. But before we get to that, I'm going to talk about Toy Story 4, which I watched in my home theater. And the reason I'm doing that is because, like, hey, I've been watching these and how they're released. When I did this, I wasn't planning to rewatch all of them. Toy Story 5 was not a movie that I was really anticipating, but um, as it was getting closer and I started thinking about it, I'm like, hey, you know what? It would be great to just go back and rewatch all the Toy Story movies because these Toy Story movies are made pretty much spaced out within time. The first one being released in 1995, with the newest one released this year. And the one before that, Toy Story 4, was released in 2019. So the last one was 7 years ago. And so you're watching some like animation techniques and all that evolve. And that's what kind of stood out for me for Toy Story 4. This was also kind of like the same thing for Toy Story 5. I was not really looking forward to it. Um, but I do remember going to see it in theaters and I ended up having a fun time with it. I didn't think anything great about it, but to be honest, at the same time, I thought it was pretty good. Um, I thought they did a good job with the story. I thought they definitely did a really good job with the animation, um, and some of the techniques and all that. And you see a lot of that evolution with Toy Story 4, which you see like the evolution of the lighting and all that. This was pretty much, I think, the first Toy Story movie that was was rendered and completed in 2.35. So definitely like a wider screen as opposed to all the other ones were more in 1.85. So, and so it was definitely a more unique experience for that reason. Um, but I mean, again, I did like the attempt that they tried to do. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm among the opinion that, yeah, they should have stopped at three, but at the same time, I still, with the continuation, I think they did as well as they could, and I think they did a good job with what they were trying to shoot for, which was again trying to find a way to continue the stories, but also, yeah, and how they handled Woody's story, I thought was actually pretty good in this one. Just realizing like he kind of felt like he fulfilled his purpose within that time frame, and trying to take on a new purpose, it wasn't the same for him. And obviously, re-meeting up with Bo Peep and just how that brings some new thoughts and all that into his life, and just how that journey goes on was definitely great. And I mean, again, it's yeah, not as special as the first three, but it's also one that there were some good moments in it, and there were some good characters that I really liked. A Duck and Bunny are ones that definitely get a good laugh out of me whenever I watch it. So um, Forky's a fun little addition, and in all those, and oh, and Duke Kaboom. So yeah, they had a lot of great um, characters and all that. So and just I think a good story, and I enjoyed it overall. And then I have this on Blu-ray. I picked it up on a Black Friday sale. It was at a time that I was picking up a lot of movies on 4K, but I wasn't getting everything in 4K at the time. Um, definitely the ones that I thought like, hey, you know what, I really want this one on 4K. So like MCU movies, I definitely did. Some big studio ones that I really wanted. Toy Story 4 to me just felt like, you know what, it's not one that I thought was great and not one I really need on 4K. So I'm just going for the Blu-ray. So that's just what I did. Um, and for me, the Blu-ray worked fine in the dedicated home theater. The picture looked really good. Like the details were there. The rendering was really solid there, and the sound sounded really impressive in the dedicated home theater. So I think it's got a good. I think it's got a really good home theater presentation. Turns out to be a really good home theater experience. So I was definitely very impressed with it. So yeah, if you're a Toy Story fan and you're open to just hey see more of them after the third one, I think this was a good one to check out. I recommend it. So yeah, now I'm gonna jump into the movies I saw in theaters, which and I will go back to the more of the movies I saw in my home theater afterwards. But I wanted to do that detour because the next one I'm talking about is the one I saw in theaters, which was Toy Story 5. So yeah, um, I went in to go see this. This was not high on my radar, but this was one that I was still curious. I still wanted to see it. I wanted to see how it would turn out and everything, and made sure I tried to go in with an open mind. Because again, I was among those that was like, it's like, oh come on, stop. I'm not a big like I enjoyed the Toy Story movies, and obviously, again, like I said, I felt like it was a great trilogy. They didn't need to keep going with it, but um, they still had a compelling idea that I was curious how they would handle it. And so, what did I think? Overall, I thought it was good. Um, I don't like obviously if there's any moments where I felt some of the magic in some of the great storytelling of Toy Story was starting to crumble a little bit ongoing. I think this was the one that felt like it was starting to show that. And keep in mind, I still think this was good. I still think they did a good job with the story overall. What I mean by that is, I feel like the first three Toy Story movies, the pacing was just top notch. Like they had the stories cranked down, very airtight, and all that. Obviously, if there are moments to breathe, it's for characters to develop, for certain situations to grow and all that. But it didn't feel like it was fully wasted. Keep in mind, I'm not saying there. I didn't think any moment in Toy Story 5 was wasted. I enjoyed it. There are definitely good laughs. I think they did a good job with the story. It's just it didn't feel as airtight, if that makes sense. It felt like how am I wanting to put it? It felt like it the pacing just felt a little bit off. I think is what I'm more trying to go for. It just it didn't have the same sense of paceness that great paceness that the earlier ones did. Um, but and again, there were definitely a lot of characters within the Toy Story universe. You do see some of them pop up, but not a lot of them get screen time. But to be honest though, I think that helped because it also showed them to know this is where we're trying to focus on. So um, I'll go just a little bit. If you guys don't want to hear any more, you can jump ahead. But Jane is the star of the movie, um, and she I think they did a good job with trying to um, put it on her. And okay, I'm probably gonna as time goes on, I'm gonna tell you guys when I do start going into more spoilers. But another aspect that kind of gets roped in is there's a bunch of Buzz Lightyears. How they fit into the story, obviously, you'll have to see the movie to find out that. But I actually enjoyed that, like that little subplot with the Buzz Lightyears trying to go where they're going and all that. And and just seeing that journey was just kind of fun. Um, and I was just thinking like, oh, come on, we already did so many Buzz Lightyear stuff, and this was, I think they did a great job with it, honestly. So, um, okay, I have to address. Okay, no, let me first go into the presentation that I saw it in, and then I'm going to get into a couple more spoilers because if you guys just want to jump ahead from there, you can, or if you want to listen in because you've either seen it and all that, I'll give you that warning again from there. But first off, the presentation, I saw it in Cinemark XD. That's how I chose to see it. That was a time that worked best with things I was trying to accomplish in my day when I went to go see it. And the picture quality in Cinemark XD was very impressive. Like the colors and the details and all that looked great on the big screen. And then the sound was in Dolby Atmos, and I think they did a really good job of mixing all the sound. Um, Animation quality was definitely top notch, as like each of these Toy Story movies go. Definitely the animation qualities has definitely grown within the time. I was actually how they did with a lot of Bonnie's um, playtime imagination, how that was handled, like the rendering and all that was just like definitely really good. And and with another kid that's featured in it, that was definitely very well done as well. So yeah, they did a great job with the rendering of all that, and obviously all the details are top notch. So you do see it grow. It's and I still think they did a really good job with that. Okay, so two things I do want to address. These are more spoilers. One that so yeah, spoiler alert. Jump to the next review if you want to. Um, no, you know what? Before I do that, I'm just gonna say, if you've enjoyed these Toy Story movies, and you're open to more beyond the trilogy, and want to see how they continue, and just hey, want to have a fun time with these characters, I do recommend checking this one out. Um, I'm still haven't decided which one I like more between the fourth or the fifth one. Maybe I need to see it again and then get back to you on that one. But but still, I recommend it. It's still, I still think it's a really good time. It's a great movie to take your family to. I think they did a really good job with the storytelling. Still, um, even if like it wasn't airtight, they still did a good job with nailing even this the complication idea of introducing a kid to technology like they did, and how they handled the emotions, how to handle the all that. This is actually a moment I do want to get into my spoiler moment now. So, yeah, go ahead and skip to the next review if you want to avoid these. These are just two moments that deal with the movie itself. Um, okay, this one might be mild, but still, the big thing that stood out to me is Jesse and Lily Pad's relationship. And there are just moments like I didn't think about it till after the movie was over, but I kind of thought about how there was a sense of like it felt like how the first one, Woody and Buzz, like Woody the old toy that's been reliable and all that in the child's life, and then you got Buzz Lightyear that just came in and it was the new toy, bells and whistles and everything. Obviously, there's a complete different aspect in how this comes out, but there, the idea of how um, Jesse and Lily Pad, there's a sense of how Jesse is basically like the old toy, and Lily Pad's the um, new toy with bells and whistles. Because I mean, technically, even though it's like it is a tool, it is a toy for the kids. There's limitations and all that. And obviously, throughout the movie, Lily Pad evolves and all that, and starts realizing certain choices and all that. Obviously, a different realization from where Buzz Lightyear starts at the beginning of the movie to where he goes at the end of the first Toy Story. Um, but how yeah, how Lily Pad's a new toy, obviously sense of pride and all that, and and obviously it's different also how everyone was wowed by Buzz, and everyone was fearful of Lily Pad. But still, that dynamic kind of stood out to me. The other thing, this was more of a critical part for me, but the ending of Toy Story 5, I started realizing just I felt like they did an awesome job with like the last little bit of each movie when they're trying to escape their peril and all that. Um, the first one, how you have Woody and Buzz trying to get to the moving truck so they can get with Andy and all that. The second one dealing with Jesse and Woody trying to escape the airplane before it takes off. And the third one, the garbage incinerator and everything. I don't think I have to go too much more beyond that. Um, I guess the fourth one kind of has the same thing as the fifth one. Just the third act or the final like 10 minutes of like trying to escape peril and all that wasn't the same. In the fifth one, I kind of felt like that. Like there was just like a moment. Like, I mean, there are moments where whether Bonnie's going to take back the toys and all that, but the real one felt like just how, and maybe that's the idea, is just reshaping these stories into a different generation. And maybe that's more the idea. And they were probably thinking, like, hey, you know what? This worked for our audience back then. I think we need to adapt it, try something different. And that's maybe what they were going for. But yeah, just the ending wasn't, I mean, okay, I guess a selfish aspect to me, but it just didn't feel enough peril that they were put in. Like it felt like they were able to just escape it without much hassle. Um, but there, I think how they handled maybe the real aspect, which was about Bonnie, I think they did a good job on it. So anyway, sorry, that's just my little aspect of that. But at the end of the day, I still recommend Toy Story 5. Um, Even amongst my criticisms that I brought, I still think it's worth checking out. Okay, sorry, I went on there a lot longer than I should have, but hopefully this is all helpful for you. All right, the next one I saw, Supergirl. I went to an early screening on a Wednesday night, which is the day before all the the Thursday showings and all that. And so I went to go see it. It has actually been a while since I've seen the Superman movie that was released last year, and I actually really enjoyed it. So what did I think of this new one? Honestly, I enjoyed it. I didn't know what to go in fully expecting. I just heard a lot of people talk about the story and how it sounded like James Gunn was excited to adapt this story, this comic that they were doing, and um, so I went to go check it out. I mean, again, I saw the trailers. Trailers looked interesting, and so I went to go check it out. And I mean, well, like I said, I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was anything that blew my mind or anything like that. And but I kind of liked the journey of the character, the journey of going through these worlds that kind of felt like a Guardians of the Galaxy meets Mad Max, and there's just some cool locations they go to. And her trying to rescue her dog. While it's like it feels like it hovers throughout the movie, it's also maybe didn't feel as strong as it could have been, if that makes sense. But um, but yeah, overall, like I definitely had a good time. I'm glad I checked out the movie, and the action sequences were good. I don't. I think if I remember correctly, I feel like the action sequences and how things were handled were better in Superman. Again, it's been a while. I did pick up Superman on 4K. I haven't watched it, but in my dedicated home theater yet. But I'll definitely want to go back and rewatch it now. And but um, but how does it feel like a I'm definitely still interested to see how this DCU continues to shape up to be. Um, I mean, if people have concerns, I would say this. I didn't really think like Iron Man was an awesome hit. I did enjoy the Incredible Hulk, but I do have to admit, after watching it, it didn't really stick out to me in the way that Iron Man did. So I think I think we just need to see how some of these other ones turn out to kind of get an idea of how it all shapes out to be. So I'm not in the point I'm concerned yet. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. I think if you saw the trailers, you were really excited to see it, and you just wanted to see it, and it sounds like a compelling idea. And I've had people that have enjoyed it. So yeah, I still recommend if you want to check this out. Looks like it scratches the itch and everything. I do recommend checking this one out. I did see this one in IMAX, and the IMAX experience is pretty cool. Um, it would it would be in scope a lot of the time, or 2.35, and then it would expand to the fill the whole IMAX screen, and those were cool when those sequences did. And the sound is definitely well rendered and everything. So yeah, it was a good IMAX presentation. Um, okay, the next one I saw was Young Washington. I've seen a couple of the trailers, and it definitely looked interesting. So I definitely wanted to go check it out. So I went ahead and did so on. I think I was on the evening of yeah on the evening of Thursday, July 2nd, as the movie was starting to come out. So and it definitely looked compelling, and I was interested in checking it out. And what did I think of it? I actually really liked it, honestly. Um, the one aspect I really liked of it is the focus of the person, George Washington, um, in more of like how they were trying to, like, how they built up, how to be like the best person you can be, like just seeing some of those parallels you can bring to yourself, more of like a trying to give good duty and to those that you work with and all that, and um, trying to be diligent, and trying to not let certain things tear you down. If they do not let failure define you, things like that. And so I thought they did a good job with the shaping of his character, his journey, and all that. And yeah, again, and these are events that I was not aware of. Like, I don't know my, um, I don't know the U.S. history too well. So, and this was just some of the good aspects that were really good to learn here. So, and I thought they did a really good job on trying to focus on the strengths of what they were trying to bring to the movie. I don't think this has like the highest budget of like these big blockbusters, but I think they had a good enough budget to get what they wanted. And I mean, something I mentioned that I really was impressed with, but I was really impressed with the battle sequences, how they were shot, how they were edited and paced, and also how the sound mix was handled, and just helping to feel some of the intensity, some of those moments. Like there's a there's a big battle moment that happens that definitely felt very impactful, and I thought they did a really good job there. And yeah, they just did. I think they did a good job with the technical aspects, and I think they did a good job with the storytelling. Again, it's like if this is a movie that you've seen the trailers and it looks like something you really want to check out, I do recommend checking it out. I had a good time watching it, and I'm glad I saw it. I appreciated it, and I just saw this in a regular theater, a Cinemark nearby Cinemark location. So, and I think the presentation worked really good in that auditorium. Okay, I'm going to move on to the movies that I saw in my home theater. The first one I'm going to touch on is The Arrival. To be clear, this is not Arrival from 2016. with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner. This is actually a movie called The Arrival from 1996. It is with Charlie Sheen. Um, so basically, what it's about is he makes contact with an alien signal, and he tries to document it, and then things start happening from there. And obviously, I don't want to give too much away, but how they handle it, how they do the story, I think they did a really good job. Like it's it is definitely not a big budget movie. It's a small to medium mid budget movie, and I think they did a good job with the pacing of the story, and also how they handled the mystery behind it and how it would develop. Um, and there is some CGI in there, early CGI, which definitely looks dated, but I also think it adds to a bit of the personality. Um, and I found it pretty entertaining. I definitely thought they did a good job with the performances. I thought they did a good job with the pacing, editing, cinematography, and production design. I think they did a good job with it overall. And if you like that kind of movie, or you want to check it out, I do recommend giving it a look if you like science fiction that has that kind of conspiracy theory aspect to it. Um, I picked up the movie on 4K Ultra HD. I This was not my first time watching it. I did watch it last year, um, but I picked it up on 4K Ultra HD this time from Lionsgate Limited, and I was definitely very impressed with the home theater presentation. The picture quality looked great. They did a good job with remastering the picture. Um, so I was definitely very impressed with it. It looked great. I checked it on my dedicated home theater, and it looked great on the projected screen. And some of the scale and scope looked good in a few shots. Um, and then the sound was in Dolby Atmos. When I listened to it, I think I should have cranked it up a little bit higher. But it was still really well balanced and still very well rendered overall. So it was just one I should have probably cranked up when I watched it. That was all. But that probably is more on me. So yeah, it was a really good home theater experience. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one. The next one I'm going to move on to is a movie called Trouble in Paradise. And the Trouble in Paradise is a movie that was released in the early 30s. I picked this up recently from the Criterion sale. Barnes and Nobles has every July and every November, usually around that time anyway, um, a 50% Criterion sale where Barnes and Nobles puts all the Criterion movies 50% off. So, in anyone that collects physical media will usually want to go and pick up movies from the Criterion collection during that time. So, I picked up a few, and this is one of those I picked up with. And so I picked it up on 4K Ultra HD. So the movie itself, it was it's it was definitely I definitely really enjoyed it. Honestly, I definitely really enjoyed the pacing. Um, the production design's just kind of lavish, um, just like a style, like kind of like the high society style. It's kind of cool, and overall, I was definitely um, very impressed with the just the writing of the movie, just how like the dialogue, how like just realizing how a lot of these the characters, the actors are able to deliver all this dialogue. It was like written, like it felt like that. The pacing just felt like a watching, listening to someone speak during a play and all that. And I think they did a great job with it. Keep in mind the 1930s filmmaking was still very new. I mean, they were barely just going out of the silent era and starting to do movies with audio or called talking pictures. So obviously recording dialogue or people speaking was definitely a new thing. So, but I think they did a really good job with the pacing of the execution of this dialogue and everything. And editing was, I think they did a good job with the editing, the good job with the cinematography. And again, it's the time frame it comes from, and obviously they knew where to draw the strengths from, which is the writing, which was the delivery from the actors, and those were top notch. So I was definitely very impressed with it. I really enjoyed it. And if you're a fan of classic cinema and want to check it out, I do recommend checking it out. And again, I got this from the Criterion Collection 4K. The picture quality, 4K image looked good. I watched this in my modest home theater, so 55-inch TV screen, um, and the picture quality looked good on there. And again, it was not something that's designed to show off the TV or show off how great a picture of your home theater is. It's just more of like it's trying to present the picture as it was during that time, and they nailed that. They because it's got the fair amount of grain. It's got the black and white image, which looked really good. Details look good there. Um, there were some, I think there were some scratches and all that, but nothing too distracting. Um, but yeah, it was definitely well handled. And again, the sound was, I think, in DTS HD 2.0 or just mono. I forget exactly. It might have been mono, but yeah, it again not something that's designed to blow the home theater down. Classic cinema. This was just to represent the sound as it was during that time, and it sounded very good for representing that time, and they did a good job restoring it. So yeah, dialogue was clear, sound effects were well presented, well balanced, and music was good and all that. So yeah, this was a good home theater experience. And if you do like the movie, I do highly recommend picking it up. Um, and you can pick it up for I think the rest of this month or for at least the next few weeks for 50% off from at Barnes and Nobles from the Criterion Collection. So, okay, the next one I'm going to move on to, The Great Outdoors. I I did obviously I grew up with like a lot of people that were probably born around my time. I did watch a few like John Candy movies, and but this was not one of them. The Great Outdoors is one that I've heard about, and I saw clips of it on TV years ago, and that was about it. And it looked pretty funny, but just didn't check it out. When Kino Lorber was putting out the 4K Ultra HD, I decided to pick it up. I was kind of curious, so and I watched it in my dedicated home theater. And so let's talk about the movie first. I actually found it to be quite entertaining. Definitely quite a few good laughs. And just even if I wasn't laughing hard, definitely lots of moments that just had smiles on my face. Um, Obviously, the aspects of Dan Aykroyd and John Candy getting at it with one another was definitely really entertaining. And a moment with a bear. For those that haven't seen it, I'll leave that as a surprise for you. Or actually, maybe a couple moments of a bear, and I think they did a good job with the movie. And Yeah, definitely very entertaining. Definitely glad I checked it out. If you do like those kind of movies from John Candy, from the '80s, and like Dan Aykroyd, and just all that, I do recommend checking this one out. I picked this again. I picked this one up on 4K Ultra HD from Kino Lorber and watched it in my dedicated home theater. The picture quality looked pretty good. The Definitely felt very filmic, and details looked good. Colors looked good. Um, Nothing that blew the doors down, but it still looked good on a projected screen and everything. I was definitely impressed. And the sound was in DTS HD 2.0, and it sounded good. No complaints. Dialogue was clear, music was good, sound effects were well balanced. So yeah, I think they did a really good job with the 4K. And if you're a fan of this movie, I do recommend picking it up on 4K Ultra HD. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is Action, the October Crisis of 1970. I don't know how many of you have actually heard about this. I did not hear about it until I saw it pop up. And so basically what this is it's a documentary about a situation that happened back, as the title says, in October of 1970. And this takes place in Quebec, Canada. And the reason I watched it was I wanted to watch a film from Canada. And this was a documentary that was made in Canada. It was, I think, released in 1973, I want to say. It was definitely a few years after this all took place. Um, and I think they did a really good job with the documentary. Um, so basically, they spend time setting up what occurred before these events of the movie took place. So they spend about, I want to say about 20 minutes. I really wasn't keeping track of time on that. Maybe about 20 minutes, and then went into the events that unfolded, and then just showed how those all played out. And you have narration that's going on throughout the movie, describing what you're seeing, helping to provide background information. That's very helpful at the beginning of the movie, and also helps throughout the rest of the movie, um, or throughout the documentary. The narration's very dry, but I think it was. I think the delivery was necessary because it wasn't. It was more about just trying to help describe the information, the situation as it was unfolding. And there was no music except if there was music within the clips that were included. So yeah, um, this was an informative documentary, and I'm glad I checked it out. It was very good. Um, if you have an interest in learning some aspects of Canada history, I do recommend seeking out this documentary. I picked up this on Blu-ray um, from Canada and International Pictures, with which is a sub label from a company called Vinegar Syndrome, and so I picked this up on Blu-ray and watched in my dedicated home theater, and I think the presentation was good. The picture quality was good. It's definitely very heavy in dirt, grain, and scratches, but I feel like it's appropriate because it's working with a bunch of different sources. Some of the picture was in black and white, some of it was in color, um, and it was just working with all those different elements to put it all together and try to how to bring forth this documentary together. So and some are from TV clips and everything. So yeah, it's working with a bunch of different things. And so obviously some of these forms probably trying to remaster it was probably difficult to do. And the sound again, some of the narration was clear, very clear, sounded great. The clip dialogue, the sound from the clips obviously sounded distorted, but obviously you're just doing the best you can with clips you're given, and I'm pretty sure they did as best of a job they could to help present, to remaster these things the best they could. And but overall, I think it was fitting because it felt like watching an old reel of all these things, and it was very effective in that. So for that reason, it was a good home theater presentation or a good home theater experience. So yeah, if you want to pick up this documentary and have it and you've seen it, you want to recheck it out, this Blu-ray does come with some extra features, and I do recommend picking it up. Okay, the next one. Since we recently had the 4th of July, I picked the last two movies I'm going through. kind of felt appropriate. The first one I watched on the 30th anniversary of the release, which was Independence Day. So I watched Independence Day on July 3rd. It was for the 30th anniversary, I believe, was when it was released, because I think it came out on July 3rd of 1996. I never saw it in theaters. Yeah, this is not one that I got to see in theaters, but I watched it quite a few times as a kid on video, and what impressed me was just watching the model work on the, like, obviously the spaceship models, and them blowing up some stuff throughout the movie. And so the special effects were definitely very impressive. And I remember one being shown in a documentary for IMAX called Special Effects. That was released in 1996. And uh, it showed some of the special effects worked for Independence Day. So I remember that was my early experience with it. And so getting to watch it growing up as a kid was really cool. Um, so yeah, I definitely really so I've watched it quite a few times as a kid, um, and I picked it up on 4K Ultra, and I watched it over the years, and I picked it up on 4K Ultra HD a couple of years ago, and I wanted to rewatch it for the for the 30th anniversary. And so I watched it in my dedicated home theater. Um, it's a big screen spectacle, and I think it was presented very well in my dedicated home theater. The picture quality looked really good. Um, yeah, the cinematography work is definitely good. All these technical aspects help go for like the big screen aspect of like something that could be very entertaining, which I still very much enjoy. The special effects work still holds up very well, and it looked really good on the projected screen. I was definitely still very impressed with it, and yeah, I'm still glad I got to rewatch it. Sorry, I'm jumping back and forth on all this, but yeah, um, the sound the sound design was really good. The music's really good, actually. I really liked the orchestral score. Um, and yeah, the model work, like especially during the third act, with all the big um, ship battle and going to space and just the scale, feeling the scale of all that. It's definitely on the projected screen. And then the sound was in DTSX, and it sounded really good in the dedicated home theater. Definitely a lot of power towards a lot of the effects, and dialogue was clear and all that. So yeah, the presentation was great. It's a great home theater experience, and one I enjoy rewatching from time to time. And if you're looking for a good um, like again, I think the disc is about 10 years old now, but still, I still think it was still a good presentation. And if you want to pick it up, I do recommend picking up the 4K Ultra HD. I think they did a good job with the presentation. Um, okay, this last one I'm going to talk about is National Treasure. Obviously, this year is the 250th anniversary of the formation of the United States, and obviously 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So that's why I picked National Treasure and watched it on the 4th of July. Um, so, and I, if you read my review on my Facebook page, by the way, all these ones that I talked about today, I believe I've written some kind of review on my Facebook page. But I watched this in my modest home theater on a DVD, which I've had the DVD for a long time now. So, um, and I do want to upgrade to Blu-ray at some point, and I plan to at some point. But regardless, I just went for the DVD for this presentation, and or for my experience of rewatching this movie, And overall, like the DVD presentation, like the picture quality was fine. Um, Again, it's more dated now, if anything. It's so there's nothing wrong with it. It's just it is obviously working with an older source. It was trying to work for older TVs and all that. So um, but honestly, it's beyond that. It still looked fine. The sound was actually better than I thought it would be. Again, the sound is in Dolby Digital 5.1, so maybe not as impressive as something like DTS HD, but it still sounded good. Like it still carried its power. It's still still had sound effects and the music filling the soundscape, and some ambient sounds were well placed, well balanced, and everything. And yeah, from like a thunderstorm to like even near the end of the movie where they go to their final going to the final place before where they get to at the end of the movie. Just how the sound was handled in all those was really good. So it still carries a good punch and it was still impressive. So again, this is my modest home theater, so it worked good for that presentation. Um, and the movie I still really like. It is a treasure hunt movie, an adventure movie involving a treasure hunt, and just how they weave in a lot of history was definitely very impressive. And just like I think about the research that must have gone in to try to um, form form the experience that they were taking the characters on, and also us. So it's still one I really enjoy rewatching. And if you haven't seen it before, I actually and you like adventure movies and the idea of a treasure hunt movie sounds great. I highly recommend checking this one out. And again, as far as the DVD is concerned, like the quality, it was still a good home theater experience, mainly for the sound over the picture. But obviously, if you were to pick it up, I do recommend going for the Blu-ray because I think the Blu-ray would be a much better quality presentation. And I did see that there have been times that the price for this Blu-ray is actually pretty good. So yeah, um, those are my thoughts today. So yeah, I do recommend just going for the Blu-ray. But if you want to find the DVD, you can also if you find it like at a used store or anything like that, and you got a good price, and you're just wanting to just get it on DVD or not really, maybe you don't have the stuff for higher ups or anything like that, then the DVD is still fine. Anyway, those are my thoughts on all that. I'm just going to touch on this question of the day really quick before I let you guys go, if you've made it this far anyway. um, but my question of the day is what is a snack that was somewhat unusual but was pretty good? And something that came to mind was a local theater of mine. I don't know if they still do it, but they did do it once in the past, and is they had Cheeto flavored popcorn. And it was definitely unusual. I mean, maybe not the most unusual thing, but a little more slightly unusual. And it was actually pretty good. I don't think I've had anything too outlandish. So, anyway, um, but yeah, those are just my discussion for today. I appreciate you tuning into here, whether you were here for the full thing or just a couple of the reviews or just one review or a portion of a review or a couple portion of two reviews or something like that. Whatever the case may be, I appreciate you tuning in and just um, checking this out. I appreciate your time, and if you did like what you heard or listened to, feel free to check out some of my earlier episodes and like this and comment on any thoughts and all that. Anyway, this is Brent with Movie Theater Explorer signing off.